Hi, I'm Lawrence. I'm a designer learning AI and sharing what helps. If you spent any time working with AI, you've probably felt that frustration where the model feels like a hit or miss autocomplete. You give it a task and it gives you something generic, or worse, it just makes things up. As we move into 2026, we're shifting away from being prompt engineers and towards a role of context engineers. That's why today I'm talking about context engineering, the practice of giving an AI assistant the right information in the right format at the right moment, so they behave like thoughtful teammates instead of just guessing. For those of us in UX, user research, and product, this isn't just a technical back end detail. It's about how we structure our design systems, research insights, and product rules so AI can reliably act within our brand and our constraints. Today, I want to show you how better context turns a mediocre AI answer into a professional, research backed one. Most people think context engineering is for developers, but for researchers, it's about grounding. When I say grounding, I mean the process of linking an AI's output to specific verifiable facts, like your real interview transcripts, rather than letting it guess based on the broad general knowledge it learned from the open web. Without structure, an AI tool is a liability. If you dump a giant unstructured PDF of interview notes into a model, it behaves like a tired user. It latches on to whatever is most recent or salient, not as what is most important. This is where consistent tagging in your research repository comes in. I'm talking about tools you likely use, like Dovetail, EnjoyHQ, Condens, or even a highly structured Airtable database. When we store research outputs like personas, user journeys, and tasks in structured formats with metadata, we aren't just organizing for humans anymore. We're building a map that the AI can research. For example, if you ask an AI tool to summarize pain points for the admin persona, it shouldn't have to guess who the admins are. It should be able to filter your data by that specific tag first. Context engineering for research is about aligning your tags with real product language so the AI's retrieval matches how your team thinks. All right, I just wanted to go over a relatively simple example of prompting. We're going to show a prompt that's relatively short, sweet, no context involved, and then we'll use another prompt that has a little bit more context in it. And we're going to imagine that we're a designer making a healthcare application for a large hospital enterprise that uh, doctors and staff at the hospital can potentially use. And we've received this prompt, or excuse me, a requirement from the product team that we want some AI assistance on rewriting. So I thought it would actually be interesting to kind of side by side look at what different models would come up with. On this side, we have ChatGPT, and on this side, we have Gemini. So this is the prompt that I have. Rewrite this requirement to be clearer. The system should allow data about patients and doctors and let admins manage everything in one place. They're basically the same. But as you can tell, there's really no context in here. So I'm just curious to see what the answers are going to be here in ChatGPT. And it's thinking. Ooh, it's even telling me that the requirement is too vague to be actual, which I guess is good, but what the heck does ChatGPT know? So data managed everything in one place. Don't tell a team what to actually build. Here are clearer options depending on intent. Tighter general version. The system must display patient and doctor records and provide administrators with tools to view and edit. Interesting. I won't read this whole thing to you. If you want this to hold up in design and engineering, the next step is to define what exact data fields are required, what actions admins can and cannot take, any permissions or audit requirements. If you give me that context, I can tighten this into something spec ready. Let's see what Gemini is going to come up with here. Okay. Gemini is calling this a kitchen sink statement. It covers a lot of ground, but lacks the detail needed for a developer to actually build it. And we kind of knew this going in, but it gives you the idea that I think people get worried about something getting spit back. It looks like both these tools are going to stop you, or maybe it's some preferences that I put in here that uh, basically says don't trust everything I say initially or question what I'm doing here. But in this option one, let's see, detailed and professional, best for PRDs. The system shall provide a centralized administrative dashboard that displays comprehensive patient and practitioner records, enabling administrators to create, update, and delete entries within a single interface. Interesting. So it already rewrote the requirement, and it's breaking them up into PRDs, something for an agile team, and then the CRUD approach that I believe create, read, delete. I forgot what the U is for. So it's come up with these three things here, and then it's letting me know why these are better. Interesting approaches, but as you see here, the LLM or both tools have initially told me that this is not a great prompt. One gave me recommendations and wants to think through it with me. Uh, I won't say that Gemini doesn't want to do that, but it did what I asked and it rewrote the prompt with some ideas on how to make this better. So I'm going to go ahead and find that other prompt that I wanted to use here. Okay, undo is what the U meant. I finally remember that. Just wanted to add that here before I started. Anyway, so here is the prompt that I created with a little bit more context in it. Now, in the previous example, ChatGPT, Gemini already came up with uh, things on how I can fix it. So I've started brand new chats because we know these two things have no idea, what they ate for breakfast. So probably a good way to start this one off. So here's the prompt. You're a senior UX designer working on an enterprise healthcare analytics dashboard used by clinicians and admins. Your audience is a cross-functional team of PMs and engineers. Style: concise, plain language, and testable. Task: rewrite the following requirement into numbered acceptance criteria with no personal health information. Original requirement: the system should show data about patients and doctors and let admins manage everything in one place. So, actually, I was going to start with ChatGPT, but let's see what Gemini comes up with first. Because there, it did what I wanted to, broke it up into examples, and it looks like it's kind of doing the same thing. To ensure the admin management feature is functional, testable, the original requirement has been broken down into the following acceptance criteria. So it breaks it down into a unified management view, practitioner data display, patient data display, records management, CRUD operations, and audit and login. I think I'd have to read this again, but it's interesting. It's not really what I expected. At least in the last example, it rewrote it, gave suggestions here. It's breaking everything down that you would probably put into a requirements document. Okay, I got it. All right. I don't know what's going to happen here with ChatGPT because I have the free version, but let's see if it's going to answer this for me completely. And here we go. It's still telling me it's too vague. Interesting. ChatGPT, you are a hard nut to crack here. All right. But kind of does the same thing. It's going through writing out a pretty specific requirement, but it looks like overall they took this approach of writing this a little bit better and then giving me something that I can put into a requirements document better. So if you're asked to look at requirements and come up with suggestions, it looks like using uh, a tool like ChatGPT or uh, Gemini can help you at least get another view of the requirements. And then from here, obviously just don't copy and paste this into your requirements document. You probably should go in and ask some questions about why it came up with certain things here. The AI now produces a unified clinical dashboard spec with clear value for clinicians and admins. It provides numbered criteria that a developer can build. The core requirement didn't change, the context did. This can be transformed into reusable templates for any UX or research task, utilizing the backstage structure for a high-quality prompt shown on your screen. Role: who is the assistant pretending to be? Domain and product: what is the industry and product type? Audience: who will consume this output? Constraints: what are the non-negotiables regarding style, compliance, or format? Task: what is the action? Input: is the raw context, like an interview transcript or a messy note, that needs transforming? When we treat these layers as design materials, the AI becomes far more predictable. This also applies to our design systems. Design system leaders now treat these systems as infrastructure for intelligence. When we call a design system infrastructure, we mean it's the foundational source of truth that gives AI semantic meaning about components and patterns. If your design rules are scattered across Figma and slide decks, AI tools will hallucinate. But an AI-ready design system, one with clear tokens, consistent naming, and documentation, allows AI to understand and apply your brand rules. For example, LLMs can update design documentation or suggest patterns based on screen types, but only if they have access to a structured library. As UXers, we can be the ones who turn messy domain knowledge into the clean, named concepts that engineers then encode as schemas. Remember that context engineering is a cross-functional effort. Designers and researchers bring the domain understanding and information architecture. PMs set the priorities, and engineers implement the pipelines to deliver that context. Here are 3 takeaways. First, treat context as first-class requirement. Explicitly capture what the AI needs to know about the user, the product, and the constraints before you start building. Second, make your research machine legible. Store your personas and interview tags in structured repositories, not just in static decks. Third, design for memory. Decide what the experience should remember across sessions, like a user's tone preference, and design visible controls for users to adjust that memory. Context engineering is experience design from the model's point of view. By that, I mean we are deciding what the model should see, remember, and care about so it can act as a member of our team. By focusing on the backstage information, we make our AI features more on brand and user aligned without needing to be machine learning experts. If you found this helpful, please hit the button and subscribe. We're going to keep exploring these AI skills in practice. And remember, you're not alone.